Good afternoon. This is Parvati Subhash, and we are back again with another episode of Mtactics. Welcoming again all the attendees, online attendees. Today we have somebody very much relevant to why the industry is much up for all of us. Like he'll be talking about different perspectives where we, the marketing students, should be knowing before getting into the industry. Once again, thank you so much, all the attendees, for joining. We have this week a very interesting person, as I said. His name is Mr. Srijit Chelappan, head pharma of at Flipkart. Flipkart. Thank you so much for joining, sir.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. We are looking forward to have a wonderful session with you, and thank you again for all the attendees. We are quickly moving on to the questionnaire session. For that, I welcome Agramika. Hello and good morning, sir.
Hi, afternoon.
I'm so sorry. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi.
We're privileged to have you today with us.
Thank you so much.
Sir, since Parvati gave such a nice introduction of yourself, so I would begin with all the questions. So, sir, our questions are very much centric to the marketing perspectives, channel perspectives of how Flipkart is functioning and how you have been able to achieve the level of success in the retail segment of Flipkart. So, sir, can we begin with some insights on? We read about you a lot before conducting this interview. So then, sir, we came to know there were some how-to principles that you were working on, which helped you generate a lot of benefits, lot of revenues in the market in your previous company. So, sir, what was your ideology on those how-to principles for market penetration? Can we, sir, just begin with that so then we can continue with the technical questions?
Okay, actually, I'm not sure. Can you give me a quick overview of who the audience is, who's listening in, what are their expectations? Let me understand a bit about that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the audience is on this Zoom meeting also and on YouTube Live also. They are basically marketing students who are pursuing their MBA or people who are ambitious about marketing. Basically, students. The target is students who want to learn how the functioning of these big organizations happen and what are the roles that a manager is expected to do and what are they actually doing, how are they understanding the market, how are they actually making strategies for the market. So those real world insights that help us students in building a clear sight of a job description that we would want to pursue in our future.
Got it. Fine. Okay. I understand a little bit more. So these people who are listening in, would they have any industry expertise, or I'll assume that they don't have any?
Sir, let's assume that most of them don't because not everybody here is experienced in marketing.
Cool. Okay. Yep. So you were asking something about how to principles. Actually, I don't understand. What context do you want me to explain this
Sir, we
in?
read that you had come up with at PNG, you had come up with some principles for market penetration specifically. So how do you build a strategy for market penetration ideologies on that?
Okay. So you mean how do you kind of
Study the market,
launch a brand and penetrate into the market, something like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a very uber question. Let me kind of take it in parts, right? So when you're looking at okay, let's put it this way. If you are looking at an existing brand, or you want to kind of launch a new brand or a proposition in the market, right? What you're looking at is first, what is, I'll assume for now that the proposition or the product or the service that we're talking about is qualified and you've done enough research and it's kind of in market validated. It's a product market fit, basic things like that. And now we are looking to kind of how do you kind of penetrate into the market, right? So let's start first with basics. Okay, who is your audience and how big is the market for that product, right? A very strong understanding of who your audience is, which would have come from your product market fit, will help you understand out of how big the market is, how much of it is addressable by your product or a service. So in this case, like let's take for example, uh, give me an example, na? Any product.
Sir, soaps, for example.
Okay, ठीक है. Let's take a product like a men's soap, right? You want to specifically launch a men's soap. While the market for soap is pretty big, the category of soaps is actually penetrated more than 97-95% in every household, which is a big deal actually. I'm talking of in India context. And there will be obviously different form factors of soap or cleaning as a product, right? So that's what consumers want, right? And let's take bathing or not detergent, but human bathing, right? That's the proposition. You would want to understand first how big the market is from a not just a soap perspective, but from different form factors, right? So the market is sometimes powders, sometimes soaps, sometimes even now the market is obviously expanding into gels and emulsions and various other form factors, right? But if you're looking at that market, you want to split it into basis your product proposition, which is your men's bathing soap, right? I just put out a random example here, but if that is a proposition, you want to understand how big that market is specifically, or men's and women's, right? And now, once you've sized up that market, then you would want to understand the basis that size of price, how big the market is. You would come back and say, okay, you know what? If this market is this big, every market has basically a standard formula. Number of people who use the product into how often they use, and that becomes the market, right? In a year, for instance, or any period of time, right? So once you are first target the first one, which is the number of people, right? Which is the penetration piece. Right? So penetration is defined as, for example, if 100 people use a product, how many of them end up using a product, right? Out of the 100. So the key imperative aspect here is trial. How do you drive penetration is by driving trial first. Right? So hence you go back and make your entire strategies of, okay, if people were to use soap, where is the path to purchase of soap? So for example, think of the last time you bought a new soap brand, for instance. How did you become aware of it? Was it because of a TV commercial? Was it something you saw on Instagram? Was it some celebrity who talked about it? Was it something you saw in store? Was it something you were actually buying something else and it popped up and you added to your cart, right? Which was the path to purchase, and you need to do a proper quantitative understanding of this, right? Okay, if 100 people are buying, which is their path to purchase? Like for example, 70% of people are influenced by ads on TV, 60% are influenced by ads on digital, 30% are influenced by ads on e-commerce platforms, right? So you would understand, okay, where do I create awareness? In your path to purchase, starting point is awareness. Then you go into consideration. Okay, what kind of messaging creates consideration or relevance for your product? And next comes the purchase intent. So at what price point, at what benefits will I want to close this product at? Basis your quantitative understanding of how do I create awareness? Where are the people? How do I spend money to create awareness? What kind of messaging, what kind of faces, what kind of visuals I need to use? Maybe a celebrity, maybe a messaging which is very relevant to you, young person, old person, right? Think visuals, right? So that is the second piece. And then you would want to kind of, okay, what is the price I need to land it at? What grammage? Where do I need to distribute it? All of those pieces, right? All of this is the equation which will give you trial. And trial is number of people who will try your product. And post trial, and assuming all of this, I'm just giving a very, very high level answer, right? So post your trial is your repeat. If your product is good, your first moment of truth is obviously the moment you pick it up and experience it, hold it, all of that, right? I'm talking of physical product, and the service is different moments of truth there. But immediately after the first moment of truth comes the actual moment of truth, is the second moment when you use it, right? Your efficacy of the product, your ability to meet the promises you made, right, and exceed that will determine whether someone will repeat that product. And this is the magic formula of trial and repeat, right? If you, for example, if the market for men's soap was 100 people, you got 20 of them to try a product and 30% of that repeated, right? So you have 20 people who purchase the product, obviously assuming all of the people in the category buy the same value, right? Ignoring the value piece of it. That's the easier part of it. From a 20% volume, you got 30% repeat. That's about 6 people. So you basically have managed to capture a baseline of 6 out of the 100 who would continue to repeat. So being a monthly or a X number of days repeat product, right? So this is the magic formula. All you have to do is keep double clicking on the formula, arrive at the fundamental driver of the formula, right? If trial was the is a driver, trial is again broken down into awareness into consideration, awareness into consideration into availability, right? And then you drive down to, okay, awareness, how do I create awareness, right? And then you start sending it how much money I need to spend to create that awareness. So that is the equation. Everything you double click, think of it like a big tree. The first one at the top is your ambition, your business goal. I need to get to X percentage of penetration. That is your top of the tree. Second level is this thing I talked about, right? Number of people into how often they buy. Number of people is again trial, which is the again you break down. So it's like a big tree, and you get down to the leaf nodes and determine what does it take to achieve that leaf node. Put a target on the leaf node, and then roll up all of that. Magically, your top the business objective happens. Yeah. So that's the
This is a
that's the
very
approach.
clear answer. Uh, okay, sir. So, like you said, that you spend your finances, your budget specifically depending on what results you derive from the trial and error things, trial and repeat. So, sir, once we are spending on advertising, how much does it cost to advertise the e-tail on Facebook and other digital platforms? And what are the different types of ads? Are they always based on a target group, or what is the process for that? And how do these costs usually, do they even generate sales?
Okay, I sense a bit of pessimism in the last bit. Yeah, so you guys, as probably who have not probably done digital marketing, there is a fair
So
bit
we are
of, okay, how does it
freshers.
work? Sorry.
So we are freshers. We know,
Yeah.
we read this in book that it is always it converts. But then when we actually start working on our digital
Mhm.
marketing projects and all, it doesn't really work always.
Mhm. Yep, I can understand. I remember back when digital marketing spends in India were very small, right? So I worked at PNG back in 2013, 14, when we were starting off on amplifying our digital spends. Digital as a budget allocation, right? So think very high level. Only 2-3% of a brand's marketing budget would have been allocated for spending on digital mediums. By digital, I mean social, search, performance, even visual, Google Display Network, whatever you want to do, right? All of that, anything which is trackable. And now it seems in hindsight abysmal that we were so behind. But yeah, most brands used to spend less than 2-3% of their digital marketing spend. Of their entire marketing spend on digital mediums, right? And they were very comfortable spending 50% of their media on TV copies, right? Where actually all you know is reach and frequency. That's the most basic amount of tracking you get on a TV medium. And on mediums where you actually know how many people you reached out, impressions you created, how many clicks you generated, what was the frequency. You have full funnel tracking, how many of them ended up going onto a platform and actually ended up converting as well, right? When you have full funnel tracking from impression to purchase, right? And brands were spending 2-3%. This is obviously 8-9 years back, and since then the world has come a long way, right? The ROIs consistently in that time used to be upwards of 5-7 ROI on every return on ad spend, and now because of that understanding, most brands spend upwards of 30-40% on digital media today, right? So the world has come a long way, and if you want to understand how it's come a long way, is because of two aspects, right? Let's separate both of them. You have on any digital media, you have brand marketing, ability to spend for creating awareness, right? These are not performance marketing, right? Obviously digital medias allow you to target well. So you can open up, for example, on IPL you're seeing cricket, and Hotstar is streaming a commercial, right? That's brand awareness. That's it, right? You are able to do the same on TV. Earlier, you would have done this basically assuming a certain, not being able to target anywhere, right? Maybe you could have targeted by geography at best if the channels allowed it or the media vehicles allowed it, but that's about the best you could do. Now you can probably do it in different regions and all these things. Still geographically limitation. The geography limitation still applies. But on Hotstar, for instance, you would be able to create custom cohorts. You could be able to scrub their Facebook profiles of people whom you want to, or social media profiles. Load specific ads to target audience you want to talk to, right? All of that is possible. But you're still doing just brand awareness. You're not doing performance marketing. That is the difference between the first one and the second one, which is performance marketing. Performance marketing is actually programmatic, is led by pure tracking, ability to target an individual, ability to optimize for cost and for marketing actions you drive out of it, right? Be it click, be it add to cart, be it all the way up to buy a product and check out, right? So the performance marketing piece is where the world has actually gone a long way. And when you asked about, okay, how much do most companies spend on uh, performance marketing, right? Or rather, how much do they need to spend on a cost per click? The metrics for performance marketing are actually things like cost per click. You would actually pay for the click and not for the impression, right? So, like for example, we spend anywhere up to 5 to 20 rupees for cost per click on a social vehicle, right? So that's usually the benchmark, but really the benchmark is it depends on the target audience, ability to target a specific cohort. For example, a male upwards of 35, high income individual using a premium device and ability to spend more, right, is the most expensive one cohort to speak to. Right? Or example, if a female, especially of that cohort, would be even more expensive to speak to, for instance. Right. So ability to target specific cohorts who would behave in a certain way and drive a specific message. All of that drives your cost per click, and it is actually programmatic. Most media agencies now have these tools where you actually keep configuring, optimizing, right? And you keep spending, you optimize for frequency and reach, and optimize for cost per click. You let it run for a few weeks and days, and it optimizes. It understands, okay, where to reach them, what time of the day to reach them. When it actually gets you to click, maybe it's not in a game, maybe it's when you are actually browsing, right? Or maybe for some people it's when they're listening to music, whatever way. It'll find you. Don't worry.
Yes, sir. So again, like not to sound very pessimistic, but then how do we judge that a campaign has reached its utmost potential and it's time to stop the campaign, and the campaign is not working enough, it's not generating expected results? What are the measures? Like, how do you judge that?
See, I'll talk from a perspective of a, say, e-com firm, right? So usually there are a couple of metrics we optimize for, and one is CAC, or the other is I2A, right? So, or a cost of acquiring a customer, or customer acquisition cost, and the installs to acquisition, right? So what you want to do in mostly app-based companies is we would want to get them to do an action, which is install an app, right? And you would assume that, okay, for X amount of reach and impressions you would get an audience to install the app so many times, and that app opens as so and so based on the frequency of the app. For example, if it's a social app or a gaming app, you would expect them to open this app every day, or and hence drive a certain amount of actions thereon in the funnel. But for example, a shopping app would be less frequent, and some other apps would be even less frequent, right? Maybe a one-time purchase. So that is the first piece. The second piece is obviously the cost of acquiring the customer. uh, Cost of acquiring a customer varies from anywhere between 10 rupees to thousands of rupees, right? A real estate player would have to spend a lot because he's selling a very premium product. A lot of competition there. Or for example, in pharma, for instance, I lead the pharma category. We spend the cost of acquiring a customer for any e-pharma player like a Pharmacy or a 1MG or anyone is like anywhere in like 400 to 700 rupees, right? One customer. That's because the customer you acquire usually spends up in a year 5,000 to 6,000 rupees. So the lifetime value of the customer will justify the acquisition cost. Right? And so usually you would have a business model of, okay, how much do I need to spend on customer acquisition, which is within the guardrails of the business plan. You would work backwards from that. If there is value in the industry, the CACs are higher. Usually the economics plays out in every place, assuming there are enough competition out there. ठीक है.
So yeah. So you're talking about competition also. So we stand at the dawn of artificial intelligence taking over in every aspect, every application. How do you think AI is facilitating your channel integration and your basically domain?
By your, what do you mean? Is
AI,
it
sir,
e-retail?
how
Do
much
you mean
automation
e-retail?
has been incorporated in your processes in your department?
I'm sure you guys shop on e-commerce. You would see that most of it is hyper personalized, right? Like a lot
Yes,
of
yes,
personalization happening in your space. All of that is driven through machine learning and ability to understand the behavioral based targeting, right? You are every day you are generating uh, intent and behavioral signals you're giving out to the world, right? Earlier, this was not trackable. Today, it's trackable. The richness of information is obviously very high. But most information is useless unless you have a strong set of hypotheses and business rules to kind of build that on, right? uh, you would be, for example, you the first time you interact with a product category, that shows your intent. That's just purchase intent, right? But
yes,
in the past you would have done so many more interactions which indicate, let's pick an example. You want to buy a handbag, right? You just searched handbag, right? The moment you fired in a handbag query, there is obviously a lot of your profile which is sitting in the app, be it Flipkart, whichever be it app, right? Or a Mintra or whatever be it, right? Mintra or a Flipkart understands, okay, you are which device you're browsing from, what is your likely to, what kind of uh, price range are you likely to buy, right? We would want to show you the price range. So a handbag, the category varies from 50 rupees till thousands of rupees, right? What I show you at that moment of time will influence your ability to your likelihood of clicking on the product, right? So you have a brilliant way wherein I can show you something, you give me instant feedback by clicking on it. That is the learning piece of it, obviously. And that itself is what
Flipkart has
powers.
become to be known as a website that is hyper personalized. That term.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's just Flipkart, any platform today, right? This is where the industry is going towards. One player might
We
do it well or
started the
not, but
trend, I guess, of hyper
yeah.
personalized.
So obviously, what when on storefronts and on CRM, all of this is pervasive now. There is no other way to go to market apart from personalizing. If, for example, if I show you and my mother the same homepage, right, it would mean nothing, right? Uh, like it would mean that I don't understand you at all, right? Today's audience, a digital native audience, does not expect that.
Yes,
The moment I show you a homepage which is not relevant to you, or any screen which is not relevant to you, you will turn off, right?
yes,
So that is not the world we live in. So whether AI is is there or not is not the question, right? It has to be there. That is it is not a question of ki, are we there yet? This used to be a question 10 years ago. Now we are like, okay, where can we, or maybe it's in the land where is it too much, or is it scary, is it taking over? Those are the questions we are asking today, rather than ki acha hai ki nahi, or kar raha hai ki nahi. Abhi to it's everywhere.
it
Right?
is.
Even in most operational things also, like route mapping, packaging, sorting, merging of orders, all of this, right? I'm talking operations, not obviously it's very easy to personalize and drive AI in the storefront and everything that you see in digital, right? But it's difficult to do this on ground, right? But this is most of the facilities where your orders are packaged, right? Which orders go together, which lanes do they get shipped in? All of that is again driven by learning and predictive analysis, right? Saying that, okay, this is the last 10 days orders I have. So, you know what, I should create capacities of so and so because I'm looking at forward demand planning like this. And those are being thrown up by systems. And most times, you would obviously have humans also doing the same planning routes, but or planning activities. But over a period of time, you would realize that the machines will get better at it as the volumes go up. So the truth is, as volumes go up, the noise goes down. And when noise goes down, machines do a better job of predicting things. When there is a lot of noise in the system, variability, that's when a human ability to like global statements or sort of generic gyan. But if you want me to answer anything specifically, right, please do ask a specific question.
Yes, sir. So moving on to a little internal operations oriented questions. As a dropshipping business, how does your business model support product development, and how much as a marketer you can help in the internal growth and in the process of product development?
I don't understand this question. What do you mean by drop shipping business?
So drop shipping, as in the basically Flipkart is a marketplace wherein sellers and customers meet at a place, right? So
Mhm.
then, in this kind of a model, how can you as a marketer help in the internal growth? Like, what is the job of a marketer in this business model?
Okay, marketeer at what? At a seller, at a platform, at a
At the
brand?
platform, sir, at the platform.
Okay, okay. Let me just give you a 101 first, then we'll get into the specific question, right? So, marketplace, right? In a marketplace, you mentioned three entities. Okay, one is the platform itself, whose job is to drive more people to the platform. Uh, think of a mall. The job of the marketeer at a mall is to get more people to visit the mall. उतना ही है, right? And
Hmm.
obviously, the job of the people optimizing the mall is to ensure the stores are laid out in the right way so that you would get to experience a lot of stores, visit a lot of stores, right? That is my job as a mall or as a marketplace. See, meet as many sellers, meet as many brands. That is my job, right? As a marketeer at a platform. As a brand, what is my job is to ensure that when you visit the mall, you would come to my store also, right? And as a seller who is selling in the shop, right? My job is to ensure that once you are able to come to my store, I will close you. I'm dumbed it down the physical real world example, but now let's take the parallel to the Flipkart, right? When you think sellers, right? Most sellers sell their own brands.
Hmm.
Right? In which case, okay, you would converge the brand and the seller. But for example, take a brand like say a cycle brand, right? Hercules. There is still a Hercules brand, and then this seller for the Hercules cycle, right? And I picked cycle because you said dropship. We'll get to the dropship piece later, but so Hercules wants to get as many people coming to Flipkart to who are relevant to buying a cycle to understand that okay, there is a brand called Hercules. It offers great. I don't know if Hercules is still there. This is my memory of what brands to sell. Uh, as many people who would come to Flipkart to understand or become aware that Hercules is a great brand in cycles and one of the top brands, right? And come and see my set of products and consider buying them. That is my job, right? So I would use the tools on platform address, or the tools available on the platform. We can get into what those tools are also, so that you guys understand. But as a seller, if I'm selling my own cycles, I can also create. I can just import something from China, knock it down, and sell it, right? So that's also possible. So in which case, I'm not interested in building a brand usually. I'm interested in just converting people. So I will basically try to advertise down the funnel. So people who are looking at buying cycles specifically, that's where I will target audiences. Okay, you are trying to, so people who are like, for example, you type in a cycles keyword in the search bar, right? I would advertise there, and I would play on price, speed, availability, or maybe even equality of the product or whatever product quality to kind of get someone who's coming to buy cycles. That becomes my audience. But for a brand, I would want to not just look at people who, obviously, people who are going to buy a cycle is most relevant for me, but not just that, right? People who are looking at fitness also become relevant for me. Not just those audience, people who are looking to have mobility also become relevant. I would want to broaden as a brand marketer, I would want to broaden this because I am after trial, not just the category buyers. Category buyer to aayega hi. Then I'm looking at consideration and purchase intent, right? Where I'm looking at pricing my product and making my product available. That's the way to see this. Uh, Now, as a platform, I don't care what. Really, I should not care whether the which brand is getting sold. I want to I want to ensure anyone who comes to my mall or my marketplace goes away with some product. That is, or goes away with lots of products. First of all, they buy something and they buy
Have
a
you
lot of
come
it.
up with strategies for that very reason only, for that very purpose?
See, we'll get to all of these. I am assuming all of these questions are relevant to you. That's why you're asking this question. If it's not relevant, we can jump to only the ones which you think are relevant, right? Because you said freshers, I thought, okay, you don't necessarily need to work at a brand or at a platform. You can work at a seller also. There's not no harm in that, right? You can learn it from seller. So let's take the seller and put it aside. So as a seller, I'm looking at already category buyers, and I'm trying to market to those people, right? Become simple. That means I'm already looking at showing my product within the category pages. So there are category landing pages where Or for example, I'll market only in say a sporting shop or in the sports sections and stuff like that, right? Or people who are searching for it, search marketing. All of that happens not only in the GDN Google network or the search engine marketing, but also on platform with the people who are searching for it, search ads. That's the simplest thing. And obviously build my catalog, very nice, high quality catalog, good images, make my product price competitive, all of this. Okay, so we'll put that aside, and we'll come to the brand wise. As I said, you want to target a larger audience and get them into the category buyers. As a market, if I'm a market leader, expanding the category itself will give me goodness. If I'm a competitor, then I'll want to play the role of, sometimes play the role of what a seller is doing, sometimes play the role of what the brand is doing, right? Market leader brand is doing. Now, as a marketeer at Flipkart, right? Let's again break down into two kinds of marketing. There's one kind of marketing at Flipkart or any e-com which is trying just in whose only job is to get users to come to the platform, fire up the app and open the platform, right? That is where my job ends. I will be measured on visit to Flipkart. Today, Flipkart gets upwards of 70, 80 million visits a day. Visit is basically any app session fired up, right? Almost 95% of it is app or websites, mobile sites. So 70 million is a large number, right? How do I get it's a massive number. I couldn't think of this number. First time someone tells me itne log aate hain ek platform pe, I would have, like, for perspective, no newspaper has more than a 10 million circulation. Right? It is massive numbers, right? Every day so many people come to most platforms. How do you drive the visit to the platform, right? That is the first thing. And a lot of this is actually organic. About 40-50% of it is purely organic. People are opening up the app and firing, right? Repeat users. 40% of Flipkart repeats every month, right? So a lot of, it's a way of life for many people. Then there is, but that 40% is only still 28-30 million people, right? Of course, say you need to get another 30 million people every day,
That is
right?
a lot also, sir.
Yeah, so those sessions are what you would do through a lot of it through digital marketing, a lot of it through performance marketing, a lot of it through social and being surround noise, right? You do all of these things and that would drive all of this. Affiliate marketing, so multiple things, but all of those are measured with someone coming to the homepage. That's it, right? Then there is a whole set of people whose job is basically optimizing the people who come to the homepage meaning the Flipkart homepage, right? Their job is basically to get people to visit many categories, time spent on the platform, number of categories that a person visited, all of those become metrics. So there I need to get into understanding and customizing my what I show you, right, visually, to someone who's coming. Cohorts of people who are coming in, putting in different kinds of offerings. Say a deal offering. Every day I make a widget which is only about deals. Some of it I will. So, for instance, about 50% of the home screen of Flipkart is powered by machines. They optimize for it. Another 50% is powered by human intervention. Someone physically sees, okay, you know what, I'll put this widget up with this call out saying that, okay, you know what, today there's a sale event on some mobile phone, some sale event, some summer carnival, right? So you would come and think of different events and different constructs so that people would be attracted to it. And what we do is we actually make the human content, right, compete with the machine content. And whatever wins, the win, I mean, when customer clicks, that's feedback, and that is way how you measure, right? So you would actively make both of these compete and drives the number of visits, which translate into time spent on the platform, multiple categories visited, how many unique categories they visited, all of these things, right? And whether that visit translated into a conversion into a purchase, and the actual price point of the purchase, and hence the GMV that the platform registers, right? So that is another team completely. So when you say marketing, the first thing is completely different from the second thing. Second thing is all on platform optimization. It is a new kind of marketing. Most people would not be even aware of this, right? But the scope of that work is so massive. I said like 70 million people coming, 70 million visits will be 50 million people. Yes, unique people coming in, and you need to get them to purchase, right? About you would convert at say 5-6% of all of those people. If you convert even 0.5% more, right, that is a massive 10% growth to the on a $20 billion company, right? It's massive numbers. So the impact of these activities are very high, and obviously you would need high brilliant people, but the skill set is not actually only marketing. it is all on the base, like about 50-60% of the skill set is pure analytical rigor, ability to understand different metrics, integrate them, and merge the hypothesis from one or the insight from one into another to kind of build this business plan or a business outcome for the platform, right? That is what is the skill set. Marketing is just the cream on top. A lot of it is pure hard work. Yeah. So now I probably answered a lot of things, but I did not answer the dropship piece. That's right.
Yes.
And that is why I asked, what is dropship got to do with all of this question?
So basically, we wanted to understand the model basically, and how as a marketer we can help. If we get a job in Flipkart, let's say, what will be our roles? What will we be
Achha.
doing in that? How can we
Okay.
contribute?
Okay. So because you said dropship, so let me just clarify and might be information to you guys. So there are different operating models also, right? If I am as a seller going to list on my product on a platform, I can ship the product myself, which means that if I get an order, I will courier the product or I'll take it personally myself and give it to a customer, right? That is dropship, where the shipment is done by the seller,
Yes.
right? If I were to give the offload this activity of delivering the product to the customer, my order which I received, right, to the platform. So the most platforms like Amazon, Flipkart offer e-cart delivery and multiple other 3PL third-party logistics as services, right? They would come and pick up the from the seller also. So when they do this, that's when you're dedicated this. And dropship is a very fringe case, only reserved for items like, say, for example, frozen goods, right? You most platforms will not have capability to kind of pick up frozen goods and deliver within a very short duration. Or, for example, pianos and large bulky instruments, furniture, right? Only those very small products are actually shipped on dropship. And dropship is a very small, like insignificant part of the business, really, of any platform, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So moving on to the operations part only, the biggest problem in is reverse logistics also that for omni-channel stems from the complexities of reverse logistics basically, wherein retailers may not find about when their package will return, and how is Flipkart facing the problem of reverse logistics?
Okay. Okay. So because you're freshers, I'll start with a refresher course of in logistics. There are multiple miles. So when you order a product, the there is a first mile. The product gets picked up from the seller and comes to the platform. That is the first mile. Okay. Picking up from the seller is the first mile. The product goes to the warehouse of, say, Flipkart, from or the hub of the pickup hub of from Flipkart, from where it's actually the middle mile starts to the customer, right? And it comes to the closest hub to the customer. That is called the middle mile. And from the delivery hub, right? Delivery hub to the customer is the last mile. So the last mile is when you get the out for delivery notification, right? So that's what the last mile is. And one that is the forward leg where everything gets delivered, right? And now there are two possibilities. There is a cancellation in between in this leg, in anywhere in this forward leg, which is usually the what we call in the industry as RTO, or return to origin, right? Most platforms allow customers to cancel products while they're being in transit. This unfortunately is a big drain on my P&L, because I have to pay for the product to come to you and go back also. Usually, most platforms have anywhere between 3 to 7%, depending on categories. If the product takes a long time to reach you, then it's higher also. Of my all my orders get cancelled en route, right? That is called a return to origin, right? That is one part of it. That is not reverse logistics, RVP that you're talking of, right? The second aspect is, once the product is received, then I allow a customer to initiate a return. So that is, the first one is a cancellation, the second one is a return, right? Once I place a return, then I need to enable two things. First, I need to enable a pickup of the return. So again, the last mile delivery hub, say someone has to go to the customer, pick up the product, say for example a t-shirt, someone has to validate and pick up the product. Now again there is a full length mile which has to go from the customer till the origin, maybe the seller, right? Again it goes to the delivery hub, the middle mile. So all of these lanes going, so that's the operational part of it, right? Now, as a platform, both of these legs, right, cancellation and return, both of these are big drains on anyone's PNL, right? And as someone who used to run most of any categories, you do as a platform try to shape behavior to reduce both of these things. Obviously, as a most platforms, we offer these things because you are doing a purchase without seeing the physical product, right? You're buying a t-shirt without trying it on, you're buying a shoe without having tried it on, and mostly apparel is where a lot of these things happen, right? Packaged goods or products which are very commoditized, most like personal care or whatever, right? FMCG products, we actually don't offer any return because the source is known, the products are online completely damaged or something, right? In which case, there's no benefit in picking up the return also. It's completely not reinventorizable again in my platform. So usually we don't offer any return as policies, right? So I'll come back to the shaping. So as a category manager or someone who runs the PNL, right? I have levers. The lever is first is the return policy itself. What policies I offer to customers? Do I offer a policy of being able to cancel on in route, right? On route to you? Whether I offer that. If I offer that, you are happy because you change your mind, you bought something and you want to cancel. The platform allows you to easily return, right? And it's absorbing the cost of it. So you are happy, you will come back to the platform again because you got a good experience. So the metric which goes up is my NPS, which is my net promoter score, which is customer satisfaction, right? So I have to balance between my cost and my customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction gives me repeat business, so I have to obviously honor that, and we have very high customer satisfaction. For in perspective, a platform like Flipkart, we have close to 75-80 NPS. NPS is calculated as the number of promoters minus number of detractors divided by total base, right? So if 100 people are surveyed, promoters are people who would give you a 4 or 5 out of 5 rating, right? So more than 3. And anyone who would give you less than 3 is a detractor. A 3 is like ignore them, right? So if 100 people you survey, if 10 people said they're giving you 1 or 2 star, right? That makes basically 90 people are promoters, 10 are detractors. That makes it 80. So 80 by 100, that's a score of NPS, right? That's how you calculate. Most platforms, as you offer these policies, right? If I offer a very stringent policy, you are unhappy. You would rate it 1 star, 2 star. You are unhappy because you made someone showed you a Cadbury's chocolate, and you were obviously it's a impulse purchase, so you felt like okay, I want to buy this. It'll come to you next day, but then you had a guilt pang, and then you said, okay, I'm buying unnecessarily chocolates, so let me cancel, right? So, but the platform is not allowing you to cancel, so you're unhappy. So you would say 1 star, 2 star. You would call customer care. You would spend time arguing with customer care. All of these things, right? So I can shape behavior with policy. One is that I did as a category manager. I'd shape the policy, right? Similar for returns also. I can offer no returns. I can offer 2-day return. I can offer 10-day return. I can offer any day return also, like 90-day return also, right? Most returns happen actually in like 8 to 12 days, right? Uske baad to the like nothing happens literally. So I can say, okay, you can return the product anytime. Marketing gimmick, but doesn't matter, right? So most platforms offer a 30-day return, but nothing happens after 15 days, really, right? So if I offer a long return period, some people are happy, not happy. But if I offer no return, right, a lot of people are unhappy because what if the product is damaged or something like that, right? So I have to offer return for everything, provided it's damaged, provided you got a different product what you ordered, right? All of those things I need to offer. But if I offer these stringent policies, as I said, the trade-off is the NPS on this, right? And all of this, the other side of a very easy, relaxed policy is I have a lot of cost. Uh, about 5% of my cost goes in these RVP and RTO cost itself, right? It's a very big cost for it. So I have that is the as a category manager, that's the priority. One is that. The second is I shape customer behavior towards products which have low returns inherently. So when you are browsing products, right, I understand product quality of these products is low. So these products typically tend to attract high returns on or high cancel or the product has a 7-day delivery time, right? I don't show you these products. I ding down the discoverability of this product so that you would see products which are faster delivery to you. You would see products which have good product quality and good rating, right? Which inherently have lesser returns and lesser cancellations. That is the other lever I have. I show you better products, so you would not discover those products. So I am doing one thing. I am shaping behavior in terms of what products I'm showing. Am I being fair? So again, that's another choice as platform we have. The other choice is, okay, I manage the logistics and all through having better placement of my hubs and all, right? For example, if I place hubs close to you, delivery happens faster to you. For example, you are in some remote town, right? वहाँ पे आपका there is no delivery hub only, so the nearest delivery guy comes once in 2 days only. So you guys don't understand this because you mostly are living in big cities, but 70% of my orders are delivered beyond tier 3 towns. If I don't place my network, so basically I'm talking network. I have a network designed to optimize for speed, invest in infrastructure so that the RTOs and RVPs go down, right? That's the other thing. Uh, and subsequently, a lot more levers. But from a seller's perspective, all of these, if I invest, right, and I kind of shape, the total cancellations and returns go down. Obviously, as a seller, what most sellers can do is ensure that the primary biggest reason for RVP, apart from remorse, is product mostly damaged or not fit as expected, right? So those are the reasons. So as what you can do as marketeers, if you are working with brands on or sellers, is understand the reasons for returns, right? And most sellers see these reasons and then try to optimize and go back to the feedback loop. As with anything, the beauty of e-commerce is that you get all the information you want. So you basically have to ask the right question: कि कैसे reduce करना है RVP? You would see, okay, where is my returns coming from? Is it coming from certain geographies? Is it coming from certain products segments? Is it coming from certain customer segments? Right? If there is a bias somewhere, try to eliminate that bias, that spike somewhere by changing something. It's just that it's common sense. Actually, most of it is common sense.
Thank you, sir. So,
Okay.
next question is, what do you think about omni-channels replacing the multi-channels in distribution and reaching people and increasing scope of consumer durable business, and how the channel integration is aiding to this process of transition?
Very complicated, like a lot of verbosity in the question. See, I don't understand what you mean by this question literally, right? Please dumb it down. Like, what is omni-channel? You want me to tell you how omni-channel play out in the future? I can tell her.
Sir, you please do tell us that also. And with that, how is this the transition from normal traditional selling that used to happen, and now people are more focusing, even sellers are more focusing on omni channels, so they are also going online. So why is it beneficial for them? What are they doing? Why this transition is happening, and how is Flipkart able to get that competitive edge that all sellers prefer Flipkart?
See, no one prefers any platform. Everyone prefers just business, right? That is the truth of it, right? If you offer any seller or any brand more business, better working relationships, they will automatically prefer a platform. That's it. Utna hi hai. There is nothing like, okay, someone likes this platform more than that platform. All that is, at the end, the bottom line is what business you get out of it, right? That is what the truth is. Now, coming to what omni-channel, how that's panning out, right? Maybe 7 8 years ago, right? E-com was 1% of the entire retail landscape. Modern trade, for big FMCG companies, modern trade was a big channel. And like, I'm talking from the perspective, I used to work at PNG. So modern trade was so big, right? Last year, maybe obviously induced by the pandemic and even the year before that, e-commerce was already bigger than modern trade, right? Modern trade, I mean, organized retail chains like your big bazaars. Oh, it's not big bazaar. The hypermarkets, cash and carry, supermarkets, right? Where you would have a POS system and self-serve, right? Uh, e-commerce as a way of shopping has overtaken that channel. 8 years ago, 7 years ago, I could not think of this future, right? Uh, People were the research reports were saying it will become that, but like always there was a pessimism, like you said at the starting. Now, how does digital work? Does it actually pay out, right? Pessimism, right? Because we don't see the future yet. But today, when I see that number, right, कि इतना बड़ा हो गया है, right, I realize that, okay, you know what? Sometimes you need to take that leap of faith, right? And what's going to happen in omni-channel perspective is that's why I'm saying this is because that's going to happen with omni-channel as well, right? Most of physical retail today has to understand the consumer behavior first. Physical retail, the consumer behavior has become online. You are spending more time online on digital mechanisms, right? So you have to reach the customer there and offer them a seamless experience. Customers are already buying now. E-commerce is like 7-8% of retail, right? So now they're already expecting that a physical store I buy from, right, will offer me ability to buy online, ability to buy offline, all of this. That is the expectation from a customer. You don't think कि अच्छा ये नहीं हो सकता. But from a physical store, that is a big capability. If, for example, you walk into a Aditya Birla store, whatever, that Van Heusen store or whatever, right? You would expect that, okay, you know what, आपके पास इतने styles रखे हैं यहाँ पे, or you have so many products on display here, but you don't have XXL size for me especially, big problem. Or you don't have the S size of this cut of this top, right? Why don't you have it? It's there on your website, right? You would not think that the website is, or the store is different from the website. It is obviously the same brand. Why wouldn't it be not different? You don't get the concept that you know what, that store has a company owned company operated store. It has physical inventory. There's a lot of different things which make that possible, right? But customers have gone beyond that. They have leapfrogged the capability. Now what physical stores have to do is catch up to expectations itself, not even like to future. They have to catch up to just expectations. Ki yehi expectation hai. This is the future. I have to offer whatever is there on my catalog anywhere in the world in the store. It's also. So what it means is that you walk into the store, you will be able to order any product, pick it up from the store, for instance, or the store will deliver to you. You are expecting a seamless interface, and the store has to catch up on that. And that capability of Omni is something which is still very small. Like most stores are realizing, you know what, I need to be omnipresent. Oh, I need to have omni-channel strategy. All of this is just being the nascency of it. Most stores don't even know how to become omni, right? And being omni doesn't mean that you are on a platform like Flipkart. Being omni means that you just integrate with your own website. वो भी नहीं हो रहा. Then you can integrate with any other platform also. That will like extra be obviously extra demand, extra volume for you. But that is where it is today, right? But because the customer is ahead of you, this is not a option that is there in the future. This is a foregone conclusion ki yahi hoga.
Necessity.
Yeah.
So that was very informative and very from the scratch. You tried to explain us everything. So I would invite Parvati to give the vote of thanks, and thank you so much again, sir, for answering all of our. Yes. So,
Sure.
sir, one of the audience member has a question.
Sure.
So, Manas, would you like to unmute and speak? Yeah. So, can we take his question?
Of course.
Manas, are you there?
If it's not there, maybe you can just relay the question. It's okay.
Sir, he's coming online. Just a second, please. If anyone else has a question, they can join in and ask.
Yes, am I audible?
I can hear you.
Yes, good afternoon. First of all, thank you for imparting your time for us. So my question is regarding that the statement that you said that the suggestions on Flipkart are hyper personalized. So my question to you on this is recently there has been a lot of emphasis given on privacy in mobile phones, and for example iOS 14.5 and above have extensive privacy features where they allow the user to get tracked or not tracked. So
yep.
I would just want to understand that how it has affected the potency of any marketing campaign, because you're not able to get that accurate data and you just have to generalize based on the demographic that they're in.
Yeah. Yeah, so good question, and it's a dynamic landscape, right? So the reality is that as consumers also realize and regulators realize that the new currency in the world is actually data, right? It will make or break economies and large companies. This is this thing which will keep on changing, right? But the philosophy of using data doesn't really change much, right? I need to have consent. I need to have strong internal policies for safeguarding your data and ensuring that no PI or personally identifiable information is ever shared with any platform, right, or any other third party. And obviously, if I do very strong personalization, it gets creepy also, right? You are like, okay, is this intruding on privacy, right? That piece is where it's more philosophical than regulatory, because that's where there's no real law that is being broken, right? But it is whether it is invading on someone's right to have privacy, right? The other two, which are like, okay, consent, uh, PI information, all of that, that is law, right? And everyone follows the law. That's not really an option of, as in most big companies who have good governance and all, will definitely have place in rules in place. The last one is where it's a dynamic thing of, okay, where you draw the line, right? If I target well and especially off platform, right? On platform, mostly it's not an issue. If you are on Flipkart and I have enough information about you from data I have got from you using something on Flipkart, right? That is not a problem. It is when I take that data, use it with other third-party platforms like a Google or a Facebook or a Meta, whatever, right? And I track you there, and then I tell you there's something there, right? That's when the problem happens. And effectiveness, as more uh, as more of these platforms have build up their walls of privacy, that effectiveness will go down. But really, iOS doesn't determine anything in India. The penetration is so low that really it's not it's a non-player actually, literally, right? We sold a lot of iPhones last year, but hopefully that doesn't change the landscape. But yeah, really, iOS is not really the guardrail here, because mostly we are targeting to middle India, which is 70% of what we sell is to uh, tier 2 and beyond, which is there's no iPhone there. So really, that piece you're talking about does not influence the efficacy of the marketing campaigns, but that's a dynamic landscape, as I said, right? Tomorrow, if Android were to do something like that, that will be a big thing. And this will keep changing. Like, for example, last year, RBI did pass a rule about not being able to save credit card details, right? So then platforms came up with different ways to kind of do that, get consent, follow the law. Uh, it's a it's like a cycle. Kuch change hoga, then platforms will come around and fix it. Then we go back to the point where again the regulators think that kuch change karna hai. So it's a cycle. You just need to catch up. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Thank you, sir.
ठीक है. Sure, man.
Any other question by anyone? Okay, so if there are no questions, I'll just conclude this session. And undoubtedly, it had been a very engaging session, and I'm immensely pleased to propose the vote of thanks and acknowledge your contribution and of you and all the people who made possible this session. Firstly, I would extend my hearty thanks to the chief guest, Mr. Siji, who spent your you who took you took out your time from your busy schedule to be with us here and answer our questions. Thank you so much for that, and we had the opportunity to hear you about all these insights related to operations and marketing. And other than that, I would thank our professor Rupesh sir also, who is the captain of our ship for Mtactiq, who helped us organize this event, who helped us in creating this Mtactiq podcast. And also our IT department, Sir Manjeet sir, thank you for organizing this, helping us with this. And the team and our batchmates for joining and being so patient and contributing. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Pleasure to have you.
Bye.